Welcome everybody to the Monique Presley Show. Thanks so much for joining. Excited for you to be here as always. There's been a lot of news as always, a million things happening in the news, and I'm gonna try to give us what I call week in review. It's Freedom Friday, so I wanna have some emphasis on freedom. It's also MLK weekend. We're going to celebrate the holiday on Monday. Yesterday was his official birthday. So we will have on Monday a special show devoted to the legacy of Dr. King, the vision of Dr. King, the mission of Dr. King. So it's not going to be just platitudes and speeches. We're going to talk about what Dr. King was actually focused on and doing at the time of his death. And a lot of people try to wrap Dr. King up in just some sweet kumbaya, and that was not the man. That was not his mission. His mission was liberty. So we want to talk on Monday about cashing that check. Please don't miss the Monday show. We will have some special guests, and it will be a really good time for everybody. Welcome. If you're here for the first time, thanks for joining us. I would ask that you please click like and please subscribe and share anything. If you learned something and you want somebody else to know it, please share it. There's quite a bit that I've seen this week that to me was like, what are we even doing in this country? And I mean, I'm sure if you're like me, you think that quite a bit. What is this country even about? Like, what are we anything like what our Constitution says or our mission or any of those things? Or is it now just strong men? We're raising up strong men, and whatever it is they want, whatever they're looking for out of the country, that's what we're doing. And it's hard in the face of everything that we see, frankly, to focus on a few things. I just recorded yesterday my Week with Monique for the Don Lemon channel. Go look over there. Some of it is things that we talked about this week, but I focused on one particular thing, and I'm not going to cover it here because I want you to go over there and see it. It's the one thing that I think we need to be focused on. Hello, welcome. Guys, right now, while there's not any levels or anything, we're growing the channel, growing our subscribers. I try to conclude as many comments as I possibly can. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm glad you're here to catch one. Also, DC Note 1. Yes, RMU. I love my time there. Years and years there, and certainly we want you to support, please, independent media. But welcome. I try to put some things on the screen here and there just to say hi as we go along. We're interactive here. This is not a tell you the news and don't listen to you type show. This is a talk about what's going on, explain as much of it as we can, answer questions, engage with you type show. So please feel free to do that. But as I was saying, there's a lot that's just like not at all like what this country is supposed to be about. And I just picked a couple few. I'm gonna be with you long. I just picked a couple few things that I think, what the heck from this week? What the heck are we doing? And the first one, do you all catch any of the White House briefings? Do you catch any of those? Do you catch any of the briefings? Carolyn Levitt, I'll try. You know, I don't have to say derogatory things about those people because they live the derogatory. Like, they're always doing the derogatory things themselves. Nobody has to highlight their lack of professionalism. But this example, when you talk about media and the importance of journalism, and why we have to stand up to strong men and wannabe dictators and the people that they set in place. This, to me, tells a lot. Watch and we'll discuss.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on, Secretary Noem spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
What say you? I see people in the comments. XO Kimberly G says, yes, I've watched her in action. It's wild that no one in media challenges her back on a more consistent basis. Indeed, I agree with that. You know what, guys? Before we talk about it, I think like we need to maybe hear that like once more and again, and then I'm gonna put up some of your comments so that we can all be in it together.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on, Secretary Noem spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Listen, here's the thing. It's not just that she had a total and complete unprofessional meltdown in the middle of a briefing where she is representing the White House and the President of the United States. It's not just that, like the lack of professionalism and the meltdown. It's that he asked a question and he included facts in the question about what has happened to American citizens, about people who have been held without cause, people who have been injured, people who have been killed. And she had the nerve to ask him a question. Like, she asked him a question. Now, 101, right, for communications, especially for trial lawyers, when you are examining witnesses, is you don't ask a question for which you don't know the answer. You don't set yourself up to be surprised or poop bopped in the head like she was by the answer. She's the one who's supposed to be receiving questions and providing information. And she set herself up like a dodo bird to be in the position where she did not like the answer she received from a reporter whom she really shouldn't have been asking a question in the first place. He asked the questions. We ask the questions. She answers the questions or not, dodges the questions, obfuscates the answers, whatever, the way that they do things. But instead, she chooses to ask a question and then does not like the answer. So because she doesn't like, and he said, "Are you asking my opinion?" She says, "Yes." He gives it, and now he's a left-wing hack, doesn't deserve to be in the chair, all this and all that. All this and all that, with all of the insults and the derogatory comments and put downs and disrespect for the role of media. You like that in the media. And all of this has become normal. It's normalized now, where there's zero respect. Zero. Like, whatever it is that somebody in that position or in any of those White House positions wants to say when they do those interviews, when they do pressers, they say it whatever kind of way they want to say it. And it's a complete breakdown of levels of respect, of societal norms, and mores, of just professionalism between people who are supposed to be doing professional jobs, where you don't always like the questions that you get. You know, when President Obama was president, there were plenty of tense moments between them. And nobody does. When you're in that position and you got questions coming at you rapid fire, I know something about having rapid fire questions coming at me. It's not fun. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But when you do it for a living, you're supposed to have the ability to do it and remain calm, the ability to do it and do your job. And whenever you have to reduce down to insults, you've lost. One, you've turned it into a debate when it's not supposed to be a debate. Two, you've left room for an open-ended answer to a question when you don't know what the answer is going to be. Three, you're now caught back on your heels with an answer you don't like, and you allowed emotionalism to come in. And that is permitted in these days because people can just say whatever. They can just do whatever. They don't have to be concerned about consequences or repercussions for lack of professionalism. Do you know why they don't have to be concerned about consequences for lack of professionalism? Because this was the current occupant of the White House this week. One more time. Isn't that pathetic? Isn't that the most pitiful thing like that you've ever seen? President of the United States, supposed to be the most powerful person, in the world and like flipping the bird on a citizen, a union worker, because they had the nerve to challenge you about something that you said you were going to do. Releasing the Epstein files was a huge campaign promise that people who were supporting him, who wanted to believe that all the people who had been hiding and were pedophiles and in powerful places and getting away with it, they thought it was going to be all liberals, apparently. They were going to bring them down. And he promised and promised and promised and promised and promised that it was going to be done. And because the challenge came, he's flipping the bird. He's giving the finger, and he's saying out of his mouth, F you. He didn't say F. The President of the United States. What does that even mean? I see you. I see what you're saying. It's a joke. Yes. At this point, I agree with you. With the current occupant, he is a joke. The presidency is not a joke. And the reason why I say that those two things are very different is because he is every single day making decisions that affect millions of lives in this country and around the world. And we are living those consequences. It's not like nobody takes him seriously and therefore nobody does what he says and his decisions are not followed and people don't act on them. So when the joke of a president orders the president of another country and his wife snatched, it happens. It happens. When the joke of a president says that he wants his name put in front of the name Kennedy on the Kennedy Center, it happens. It happens. When the joke of a president orders the Smithsonian and other places to change the way that history is written about him, to omit the fact that he's already been twice impeached, to omit the fact that he is a convicted felon. It happens because people do what he says, and we suffer the consequences for that. But the complete lack of decorum, and this started years and years ago, right? This started before his last presidency. With all of the nicknames, the derogatory, insulting nicknames for opponents and disrespectful names for leaders of other countries and disrespect of members of the media. He called a female reporter a pig. When was that, last month? How long have we been at this time? It all runs together now. And so if that is what it's like from the head, then of course the Stephen Millers of the world, of course the Carolyn Levitts of the world, of course the Kristi Noems of the world, of course the Pam Bondys of the world, they're going to say whatever they want to say. They're going to go and testify before Congress, and instead of answering questions, they're just going to throw out barbs and be rude and be disrespectful. It is the degradation of the very principles, the bedrock of what it would mean to not just be a democracy, but to be functioning in a civilized society. So when you're looking at the deterioration of what it means to function as a civilized society, you got to look at the head. You got to look at the head. That's frankly one of the reasons why when I come before you guys and when I'm on other shows, I'm not doing a whole bunch of cussing. I'm not dropping F-bombs. I say things about other people that are true, but I try to skip the petty Betty where I'm talking about like the size of people's fingers or other body parts or the color of their skin or their bad tans or their makeup or their whatever. And I'm not saying a whole bunch of profanity. One of the reasons why I do that is, I mean, because I'm a trained communicator and I have full command of the English language. I know my words. I know words in other languages. So I don't really need to communicate in that manner in order to be understood, or in order to communicate that I'm pissed off, or in order to communicate that someone is being offensive, in order to dress somebody down. If what I have to do is dress somebody down, I can do it without doing that and hurt more with the truth, actually. But also because I grew up wanting to be a lawyer, starting out as a debater, as a young student, elementary, middle school, high school. And we used to be assigned projects to watch the news every day, to read the newspaper. We used to be able to bring in our debate teacher, our communications teachers, our speech teachers would play clips of our leaders, and we used those in order to follow current news and in order to learn how to communicate. And I still want to be an example of that, that if a teacher who follows me as an adult wanted to play something, to explain something to their 5th grade class, their 4th grade class, their 2nd grade class, their sophomore in high school class, that it wouldn't be where you had to bleep out the cuss words in order to get to the point, where you wouldn't have to stop and explain, okay, now class, we know that we don't speak to others that way, and we don't talk about others that way, because we are learning what word this week? Respect for others. Respect. I don't want people to have to explain me and bleep me. I want for children to still have what we had, which involved huge civil rights struggles, legal struggles, political struggles, wars. But we were able to learn the information from people who knew how to conduct themselves and have some manner of decorum. And I know there are whole other schools of thought about this, and people call their programs adult programs, and et cetera, and so on. And that's fantastic. Again, not putting down anybody else for the way they do anything. I'm just saying there have to be some of us out here. There have to be some of us out here who are willing to believe in a country where humans can disagree without being disagreeable and reach solutions. Because otherwise, we're teaching our kids that this is the way you get along with people. We're teaching our kids that this is the way that they handle themselves. And I don't have to tell you that what a 79-year-old white male billionaire can get away with is not what our Black and brown kids can get away with. So we end up having to say, do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as they do. Because our kids cannot get away with that and not end up stopped, frisked, assaulted, jailed, killed. They end up that way even when they are doing everything right. Show me your hands, showing their hands. Don't eyeball me. Look me in the eyes. Don't go for your glove box. Give me your ID. Am I free to leave? I'm not detaining you. They walk away, shot in the back. We know how this goes on the streets and in the workplace. And in the workplace. I don't like your tone. You disrespected me. We don't think you're a team player. Those are the excuses that are used for us. That and white men with means and the white women that they enable and prop up can get away with things that we cannot. So this example of say whatever you want to say, any kind of way you want to say it, and hope to still advance, we do not fail forward. That's not for us. That's some other people who fail forward. We work hard for everything we get, and then we still don't get everything we worked for. Our advancement is blood, sweat, and tears. And yes, being more qualified. And yes, being underpaid. All the things. So if we really are interested in freedom, then we have to understand what these rules are. and the way that they affect us. And not get where we think because we see something being done by somebody else that those rules apply to us. They do not. They do not. So I am concerned about examples for our children. What else has been going on? Yep. I see it, DC Note 1. Yeah. And it's pretext for people who are going to listen later on audio. DC Note 1 says, I've gotten the quote, you're not a team player, end quote, on the job before. Absolutely. And it's pretext. It's always excuses that they are looking for. And it happens on every level. It happens on every level. I've been in high stakes mediations before, like so ridiculous things, people's lives, millions of dollars on the line. And one party and another party, white men entitled with means, blah, 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 blah. And I'll step in and say, I don't think that we really need to be dealing with this. Can we move on to, why are you interrupting me? Because you're a buffoon, because you're conducting yourself like a low moron, not like a multi-million-dollar partner of a law firm. That's why. And you can speak in this voice and they'll say that you're yelling while they are quite literally turning red, head spinning around, pea soup coming out of their mouth, sweating, hair standing up. But you're the one conducting yourself like an angry Black woman. So knowing the rules of the game means that you can set your own rules of engagement so that you can survive and so that you can thrive. And what we're seeing, haven't lost my point, let me pull the thread on back in. What we're seeing from the White House, from the head of the White House, and from the communications people for the White House, and from the department secretaries, the way that they do things, that's not us. That is not what we will be permitted to do, but I would argue it's not who we are supposed to be, and it's not who we are. It's not who we've been. That's not how we get things done, and that's not what we have to do to get things done. What else is going on this week? Last thing I want to talk to you about that's going on this week. Maybe the last thing, maybe the second to the last thing that's going on this week that we haven't already covered is what I should say. That we haven't already covered. Did you guys see this? Oh no, I'll save that one for later. Did you guys see this? 75 countries, Trump and the White House announced they are suspending visa processing for. 75 that are no longer going to be able to go through the visa process, the immigration process. 75 entire countries that was announced. And they've also announced that they're revoking it for thousands of Somalis that have like less than 30 days to exit the country. God help, that is horrifying. But yeah, did you all see this, that this is happening? Wonder why am I bringing it up? Can you imagine? What countries do you think it is? Where do you think it's happening? I wonder. Who do you think they're getting rid of? Any ideas? Oops, go and see if I can go in order. Here we go. Here are the countries. Barbados, Belize, Belarus, Armenia, Algeria, Afghanistan. Oops. Try to go in order. Bosnia, Brazil, Cuba, Cameroon, You guys see any trends here? Guatemala, Haiti, Ethiopia, Fiji, Egypt, completely suspending for all these countries. Trying to put them in order, but I can't. Let me see. Here we go. Jamaica. Liberia, Libya, Mongolia. Anybody recognizing any trends here? Rwanda, Republic of the Congo. St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Senegal, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Thailand, Tanzania, Uruguay, Uganda. Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Anyone? I wonder why the list looks like that for the 75 countries. Could you notice any common threads? What the administration said is that they are suspending for these countries because the people who immigrate from these countries have been a drain on the American welfare system. And they predict that if they allow those in who have applied and are waiting to come in, and more from those countries, that they will end up being a burden on the welfare system, receiving government funds to survive in our country. That's what they said. They put out like a universal welfare queen type analysis. Brown and Black people don't work. Of course, it's the opposite. It couldn't be furthest from the truth, because people who are allowed to come here work harder than anybody else and do jobs, frankly, that lots of people don't even want to do. So it's garbage. Indeed. Did you notice that there are no Western European countries on the list? Indeed. I wonder why. The racism is the point. Project 2025 is real. It's not we tried to tell you, we told you, we told you, we told you. We told you. And then things like this happen, and it's no hide the ball. So when you got a madman in the office and he's surrounded by people who are propping him up so that they can work through their designs, everything that Project 2025 wants to do, go back and watch my show from last week with Laurie Daniel Favors. They're 50%, they're working their way through it. They're 50% done. And they mean to take us back to slavery, to enslaved times, the 3/5 people times. Yep. And it doesn't matter. The part they don't care about figuring out is the fact that they cannot sustain this country absent our participation and labor and work ethic and corporate. No, I mean, corporations would fail. The economy would tank, like in the toilet tank, if they did not have Black and brown folks as part of the workforce of this country, the ingenuity of this country, any of it. Doesn't matter. A heist is a heist is a heist. They are interested in purifying. Purifying. I'm doing air quotes for those of y'all who are just listening. The blood of this nation. That's what they're interested in doing. Yep. So what is it we're going to do about it? What does my shirt say? Vote, VOTE period. I'm given to sometimes just taking a t-shirt and writing on it. It's one of so this is a Monique original. And it's lasted a long time. I've had this one a while. Yeah, we're going to have to vote, guys. We're going to have to vote. 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 Do you know why we're going to have to vote? Because when we tell you that there's a man in there, I was watching Rachel Maddow discuss one of the reasons why what we are going through is more terrifying and more serious than any time we've had horrible, even criminal presidents in the past, is because we are dealing with someone right now who does not believe in the validity of elections unless he wins, who is not bought in on the necessity of elections, who truly desires and thinks it's his right as president to have whatever he wants done. And he's surrounded by people who think the same way. Look, here's what he said just this week. Just this week. Can y'all see that? Look at that. Can you guys read that? The president expressed frustration, this is from Reuters, that his Republican Party could lose control of the U.S. House of Representatives or the Senate in this year's midterm elections, citing historical trends that have seen the party in power lose seats in the second year of a presidency. This is a quote. It's some deep psychological thing, but when you win the presidency, you don't win the midterms, end quote, Trump said. He boasted that he had accomplished so much that, quote, when you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election, end quote. When you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election is what the guy is saying, y'all. Well, election for what? Why we need that? That's what he's saying. When you think of it, he said it's some deep psychological thing. The midterms for him are some deep psychological thing. Because why would the president not have everything? Are you registered to vote? Are you sure you're sure? Are you sure you're sure you're sure you're sure you're sure that you're sure? Everybody in your house registered to vote. Vote.org. That's where you can find out. You can also go to iwillvote.org because VOTE vote. Midterms are coming November 3rd, 2026. If we're not working on it now, we're behind. There are people, organizations you can support. NAACP, Black Voters Matter, When We All Vote, the organization formed by our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. But if you need to make sure that you can vote, which is a first step, you got to register. You got to be registered. Make sure you can vote. Everybody who's able to vote in your household. Then you start organizing and working. Vote.org. What else can you do? Because we're in the middle of calamity on calamity, and we've got this do-nothing legislature. But you know what? Their jobs are on the line come the midterm. 435 seats, every single House seat. The House of Representatives is on the line with all kinds of other things. I did a video that will be posted either later today or tomorrow, where I am taking the time, some minutes, to fully explain what midterm elections are, what's at stake, why it matters, what we can do about it. So be on the lookout for that, for my midterm explainer. But because 435, every single last House seat is on the line, is up for grabs, and 35 of the 100 Senate seats and governor's races, everything, you name it. Because of that, you have leverage right now to be putting pressure, whether you are in a so-called red state, blue state, purple state, red seat, purple state, blue seat, doesn't matter. It's up for grabs, and you need to let them know you know. You need to let them know the things that you care about. One of the things that people do not necessarily understand is that, and that's the number you call for Congress, 202-224-3121. You can call there, and it's a switchboard, and you can ask to speak to your particular member. One of the things people don't get is constituent calls. If you are actually in that member's district, if you are their constituent, they are tracking that, whether you email them or call them, or whether you're tagging them someplace on the internet, because sometimes the calls are so bad because they're doing something so unpopular that the switchboard supposedly goes down, wink, wink. They have people who track those. And there's a system in Congress that tracks it. So they are being made aware of your calls and your emails. 202-224-3121. Or those are the websites: congress.gov, house.gov, senate.gov. You can look up your particular member and you can contact them. I'm trying to leave you guys without any excuse. I want you to have the information so you know what you can do. And we need you to be doing all of it right now. No games, no games. Yep, that's what I just showed. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. She was saying also go online and get the representative's number, and you can do that here. And sometimes, you know, for our elderly folks, they're not doing as many things online, but don't sleep on them. They know how to do what they want to do. My mama stays in her phone, finding everything she needs to find. But you can call the number. 202-224-3121 if you don't want to go and do it online, and they'll connect you to where you need to go. But if you're not sure who your member is, then you can look it up through congress.gov, house.gov, senate.gov. If you're not sure where you're supposed to be registered to vote, you can enter your address, your state and your address at vote.org, and you will get the official information if your polling place has changed. And they're purging people from the polls, y'all. Take it seriously. Check and check again and check again. Okay, especially if you know you're in one of those hotly contested areas, districts or states, check again and check again and check again. Yep. I hear you. Leslie Young 7192. Then ask friends to support to do the same. My elder neighbor is my support. Absolutely. Once you get yourself straight, get your household straight, then we fan out. Neighbors, community, all politics is local. And that is exactly right. Who can you help if you know that you're straight? Who can you help? Do you have a voting plan? Do you have a plan for what voting day is going to look like? Are you voting early? Whatever the case may be. If you've got elderly neighbors that need help getting to polls, they're old-fashioned, they don't want to send it in, they don't trust it. Who can you help? That's all I got for today. Whoops, I did want to put that up. These are places that are under the gun. I forgot to add this earlier. Please. This is an area where redistricting has attacked. We need to support the caucus. And you guys know I had Dr. Freddie Haynes on earlier this week. And he was talking about just running for office, first of all, but the unique attacks that are happening in Texas. You know what they did. They quite literally drew Jasmine Crockett out of her district. But that's okay. She'll be in Senate instead if we do our job. Okay, that's for real all I got for you this week. Unless you have any questions, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please do. We're growing by leaps and bounds. That excites me. I know I used to be over on IG, and people are spoiled, but I'm hoping that they will just work their way over here. You can follow me at Monique Presley, all the places. And we are doing content, not just the live content Monday through Friday, but I'm going to be dropping some solo content as well some standalone content about different issues. First of which will be this weekend, as I said, some information about the midterms. If you'd like to support us, please do. Support independent media, support us, business, PayPal, Cash App. No gift too great or too small. We appreciate them all. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you and to talk about things that matter. Because that's what we're here to do. That's frankly my joy. My joy is to be able to come here and have the opportunity to talk to you about things that matter. Until Monday, y'all stay safe out there.